Good morning, class ninth. How are you? I hope you all are well. So, today we will do causes of poverty in chapter Poverty as a Challenge. You have already completed all the topics of this chapter. So, in it, we will learn about the causes behind the widespread poverty in India. Actually, here we will discuss about the causes of poverty in India, especially. Okay, so let's start. There were a number of causes for the widespread poverty in India. You see, there were number of causes, not any one cause or two cause. There were so many reasons behind the widespread poverty in India. And one historical reason is the low level of economic development under the British colonial administration. If you go to history, if you go in history, you can see that India was one of the colony of British administration. And here you see that under the British colonial administration, there was low level of economic development because they didn't pay attention to the economic development of India. Okay, and what the policies of them, they were uh, they were destroying the traditional handicrafts, and they discouraged development of industries like textiles. The policies of the colonial government, they ruined traditional handicrafts and discouraged development of industries like textiles. During the 18th century, uh, the pattern of trade, it went through a drastic change. Industrialized England developed its own textile industry. So now the British company, what they did, they purchased raw materials from India, like cotton and jute, and they exported the same to England for manufacturing. And again, what they did after that, then the finished goods were brought back to India for sale. And that's mean they manufactured uh, the manufactured goods dumped in India again. So in this way, they ruined traditional handicrafts and they discouraged development of industries like textiles. The low rate of growth persisted until the 1980s. And the low rate of growth, it was persistent means uh, you can say it was fixed until the 1980s. It was very low rate. Okay, the low rate of growth persisted. It was remain same until the 1980s. It was started from the British administration, and it was persisted until the 1980s. Okay, persistent means determined to continue doing something, or here you can say it's remains same. This resulted This resulted in less job opportunities and low growth rate of income. So, what happened after that? When the low rate of growth remained, actually the rate of economic development, it was low, and because of this, what happened? Less job, okay, less job opportunities and low growth rate of income. They declined the traditional handicrafts and they destroyed Indian industries. So after that, what happened? Job declined. Okay, that resulted in job decline. They don't have any work to do, and unemployment. So what happened after that? The low growth rate and income. Okay, this was accompanied by a high growth rate of population. And after that, what happened? You have read in the Palampur that the population of India was rapidly increased, isn't it? So this was accompanied by a high growth rate of population. Population was increasing rapidly, and it accompanied with means the meaning of accompanied. you can say a partner, okay, by a high growth rate of population, and the two combine to make the growth rate of per capita income very low. अब ये दोनों मिलके क्या कर रहे थे, द ग्रोथ रेट ऑफ पर इनकम कैपिटा इनकम वेरी लो. You know what is the per capita income? Here capita means person, per capita income means per person income. Actually per capita income is the average income earned per person in a given area in a specified year. Means in a specified year, the average income earned by a per person, it is a per capita income. So the growth rate was very low, per capita income very low, because the job was not there, unemployment was there, and low growth rate was there. Because of low growth rate, income was low. Because of low income, the per capita income was also very low. So the failure at both the fronts, promotion of economic growth and population control, perpetuated the cycle of poverty. Here you see the failure of both the fronts means promotion of economic growth and population. The promotion of economic growth, there was no promotion of economic growth and population. They controlled, perpetuated the cycle of poverty. Here you can see that it become a cycle of poverty now. When they destroy the handicrafts, after that there was no job, unemployment problems, then low growth rate and low income. Because of low income, the per capita income was very low. Then what happened after that? Population was increasing rapidly. These all the things become a cycle, okay, become a cycle of poverty. At last the result, the person will be poor. The result at last, what we are getting? Poverty, na? If there is no income, there is no growth rate, no job, so the standard of living standard will decrease of a person, okay. So it become a cycle of poverty. Now, with the spread of irrigation and the green revolution, many job opportunities were created in the agriculture sector. You know about the green revolution, okay. So after that, what happened? With the spread of irrigation and the green revolution, many job opportunities were created in the agriculture sectors. But what happened? But the effects were limited to some parts of India. Why? Because you know, when green revolution was started, uh, the farmers of Punjab, Haryana, Western UP, uh, they took advantage of this. In some areas, green revolution didn't work, like Chhattisgarh. See? So what happened after that? Many job opportunities were created in the agriculture sector, but the effects were limited to some parts of India. That is why it is written that it was limited to some parts of India. It was not widespread. Green revolution after green revolution, when job opportunities were uh, created, it was not affected, it was not spread all over the part of country, so it was also limited. And after that, the industries both in the public and the private sector did provide some jobs, but these were not enough to absorb all the job seekers. Unable to find proper job in cities, and if people were not getting the jobs, okay, first they migrated from where? Here, when you see that green revolution started, many job opportunities were created in the agriculture sector, but many people, they didn't get the advantage of it, they didn't get the job. So if they were not getting the job, they started migrated, okay, they started migrated from villages to cities. But when they reached cities, what happened there? The industries in cities, both in public and private sector, they provided many jobs. But you know, the population of India, they couldn't provide job for all the person. Okay, because the India has the population of India was increasing rapidly, and it was not enough for them. That job was not enough for the population of India. So what happened after that? In village sectors, they started migrating to cities, and when they reached cities, here industry, they didn't get job. And after that, what they did, and unable to find proper job in cities, many people started working as rickshaw pullers, vendors, construction workers, domestic servants, etc. Okay, when industries failed to give them job, to provide them job, they started doing uh, work in unorganized sector, like they started pulling rickshaws, vendors, construction workers. And after that, what happened? With irregular small incomes, these people could not afford expensive housing. They started living in slums on the outskirts of the cities, and the problem of poverty. Largely, a rural phenomena also became the feature of the urban sector. Now you see, when they didn't get the job in industries, they started doing work in unorganized sector. Then there they were not getting the high income; they were getting the low income. Okay, and because of the low income, they couldn't afford living. Uh, Means they couldn't afford the living in standard life, or they couldn't afford to live in a good locality. So where they going to live? They started living in slums. You know slums. uh, Slums, if you can hear, where the living conditions are extremely bad. In Hindi it is called Malin Basti. Right? So houses are very dirty, and they are damaged also. Living conditions are extremely bad in slum areas. So they started jhuggi jhopri, you can say. Okay, they started preparing slums and on the outskirts of the cities. And now the problem which were spreading in only rural areas of India, now it become a phenomenon of cities also. Hmm? The people who were migrating from villages to cities in search of a job, in cities also they were not getting it. So the poverty problem is also migrating with them. Now it become the phenomenon of cities also. Understood? Okay. So you can see there now everything is started from the okay. Everything is started from the history that when the when they didn't pay attention on our agriculture or our economic development. So what? Let's see the another reason behind it. Another feature of high poverty rates has been the huge income inequalities. And one of the major reasons for this is the unequal distribution of land and other resources. Despite many policies, we have not been able to tackle the issue in a meaningful manner. Major policies, initiatives like land reform, which aimed at redistribution of assets in rural areas, have not been implemented properly and effectively by most of the states' governments, since lack of land resources has been one of the major causes of poverty in India. Proper implementation of policy could have improved the life of millions of rural poor. Okay, what is another feature of high poverty rates? What was another reason of it? The main the another reason of high poverty rate is the huge income inequalities. Huge income inequalities means here you see that when green revolution is started, okay, some of them they get advantage from that, but many of them they didn't get advantage. And ऐसा नहीं है कि that there is no money in India. There's a money in India, but there is a huge income inequalities. Means one person is getting a high income, but one person is not getting that much, how that much that he can arrange his food for 2 times. ओके, मीन्स जो अमीर हैं वो बहुत अमीर हैं यहाँ पे, दे आर वेरी रिच, बट जो पुअर है वो बहुत पुअर हैं. दिस इज़ द income inequality. And one of the major reason for this, and what is the reason behind it, that some is having someone is living high standard life, their living standard is very high, but some is living in very low standard life. So one of the major reason for this is the unequal distribution of land and other resources. Unequal distribution of land and other resources means so many major policies were initiated, like land reforms, which aim to means to redistribution of asset in rural areas, but it was not implemented. uh, it was not implemented properly by the government, or by the state government, or by the officers. Lack of land resource, failure of land reforms, so they become failure of land reforms means they become landless labor. ओके, ह्यूज जो इनकम इनक्वलिटीज़ है वो क्यों था कि जो फेलियर ऑफ लैंड रिफॉर्म्स हुए, वो लैंड रिफॉर्म्स फेल की वजह से ये क्या हो गए, दे बिकम लैंडलेस लेबर. नाउ दे डोंट हैव लैंड्स. ओके, because the population here in India, small farmers are in large number, and if you will distribute the land among them, they will get only small size holding lands. And what happen after that, if they are getting small size holding lands, their income will be low also. If they are having small size of land, what will they produce on that land? Small production, and the income will be, it will also small. Okay, so this is inequality because of there is a number of large small farmers in India. So lack of land resource and failure of land reform is also a reason behind the widespread poverty in India. Okay, if until now we have read about the widespread poverty, reasons of widespread poverty in India, and we have completed 4 reasons. Okay, now we will study about the 5th one. And what is the 5th one? Many other socio-cultural one more thing, that proper implementation of policies could have improved the life of millions of rural poor. Means I told you, there is no proper implementation of that policies, policies, land reforms policies. If the government, the state government or the officers, if they did it properly, maybe the life of millions of rural poor have improved today. Okay, so they were failed to apply that policies, land reforms, or these kinds of policies. Now many other socio-cultural and economic factors are responsible for poverty. Now so many social, cultural, economic factors in India, that there are so many rituals, so many custom people has to follow. Means if they don't want, still they have to follow. They have to follow that custom, that rules, that religious customs they have to do. For example, see, in order to fulfill social obligation and observe religious ceremonies, people in India, including the very poor, spend a lot of money. In some ceremonies they have to pay so much. they have to spend a lot of money, including the poor person also. For example, in marriages in India, in marriages, they have to give dowry, and for that, what they will do? Of course, they will take a debt. Hmm? They will borrow that. So I spend a lot of money. Small farmers, and like religious ceremonies also. There are so many religious ceremonies prevailing in India, and because of that, they have to pay a lot of money on that. This is also the reason of poverty in India. They don't have money to uh, complete that ritual, and for that they borrow the money, and in that condition, when they don't able to pay that that money, they uh, then they become indebtedness. Okay, so including our subs, not small farmers. This was the your social and cultural reason. But small farmers, what are the economic factors? Small farmers need money to buy agricultural inputs like seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, etc. Since poor people hardly have any saving, they borrow, and unable to repay because of poverty, they become victims of indebtedness. So the high level of indebtedness is both the cause and effect of poverty. See, small farmers, they don't have money. They are not having money to food. They are not having money for surviving. So, from where they will get money for the agriculture inputs? Because if they want a production in their land, they really need agriculture inputs like HY seeds, high yielding seeds, high yielding variety seeds, and fertilizers, pesticides, and for that they need money. And if they are not having, what they will do? They will go and they will borrow, and unable to repay because of poverty, they become victims of indebtedness. So, the high level of indebtedness is both the cause and effect of poverty. It's not only the cause, it is the effect of poverty. Okay, it is cause as well, it is the effect of poverty. What is the effect and cause of poverty? Indebtedness. Okay, understood? So, what we read about the causes of poverty, and you can easily write this answer because here these types of questions uh, comes in long answers. Okay, what are the causes of poverty in India? So you can easily write in 5 points. Okay, first you can write the first reason, low level of economic development under the British rule, first reason. And the second reason you can write fruits of green revolution was limited to some parts of India only. Here you can write about the green revolution and their effects, and the parts of India which were not get advantage of that. You can write all these things. And the third one you can write migration to cities. Okay, migration to cities means the people who were migrating from villages, what they did in cities. So the problem of poverty, which were only that time, which were only in villages, now it become the phenomena of cities also. And now fourth one you can write huge income inequalities. And the fifth one, socio-culture and economic factor. So these 5 points if you write, you can easily write. Okay, so this is enough for today. Thank you so much.